United States can be traced to the Reconstruction period after the end of the Civil War. Farmers and businessmen needed to find replacements for the labor force once their slaves had been freed. On May 11, 1868, Thomas Ruger, Georgia's provisional governor, issued a convict lease for 100 African American prisoners to William Fort for work on the Georgia and Alabama Railroad, as a solution to the labor shortage problem. The convict lease system quickly became widespread and was used to supply labor in railroad, mining, farming, and logging operations. Offenders who were leased out to private enterprises often suffered neglect, abuse, and brutality. Convict leasing began in Texas by 1883 and was abolished in 1910. As said by Frederick Douglass, the convict lease system and lynch law are twin infamies which flourish hand in hand in many of the United States. They are the two great outgrowths and results of the class legislation under which our people suffer today. Thomas O'Connor was the man over the slave system in Sewanee, and he started the slogan, "One slave die, get another." This showed that to him, slaves meant nothing. The system made him a very rich man, because the convict lease was highly profitable. Not only did it provide an unlimited source of free labor to any and all Southern industry, thus making big money for the owners of such industry, convict leasing was profitable in and of itself. In much that same way that private contracts work today, that state only leased its convicts to one or two well-connected brokers. The mortality rate for the convict miners was high because they had no experience in mining. Also, there was little financial incentive to provide safe working conditions for them. If a mule died while working in the coal mines, a new mule had to be purchased. If a convict miner died, the state would furnish a new convict to replace the convict who died at no cost to the mine owner or the state. Where prisons existed, convict leasing did not count for much. Everywhere else, it became the principal means whereby states could meet the private labor needs of sugar and cotton plantations, coal and phosphate mines, turpentine farms, sawmills, and a host of other businesses that were hungry for cheap labor. The distinguishing feature of the Southern convict lease system was that convicts, mostly black, were leased directly to planters, mine owners, and other businessmen and corporations, with almost no public oversight of the convicts' health and welfare. The system was akin to the darkest days of colonial indentured servitude, in which the planter, or whoever, as owner or lessee, sought to extract as much labor as possible from the bound worker, while he had him. One planter's observation, "One dies, get another," summed up a pervasive attitude toward the convicts. Only cost mattered. This approach to labor, Mancini might have noted, was shared by many of the so-called robber barons of industrializing America. Various reformers, from New South advocates, embarrassed by the bad image that leasing gave the region, to civil rights advocates, angry at the system's abuses, and especially over the high death rates of leased convicts. Wanted the system ended. But, argues Mancini, it was cost and not conscience that ended convict leasing. As the region's economy changed and costs of renting convicts for year-long contracts rose, fewer lessees stepped forward. The southern states built prisons and work farms and assumed control of the convicts' labor. The chain gang did not disappear, only the owner of the convicts' labor did.